As a child, eating mushrooms and just jumping on the platforms as Mario and stomping my feet on the DDR mat as the arrows just raced across the screen, I mean, those were my jam. It was exhilarating and fun, and I love taking on the new challenges and just being engrossed in these worlds. And of course, all of these games were unlocked after doing my daily chores and homework, but the memories of me playing these games with my little brother are just really near and dear to my heart. I mean, we had so much fun. All this to say, I loved games growing up, but as I got older, I've noticed that I've been playing less and less of them. I guess because schoolwork, college and graduate school just got in the way of all of these things, and they can be very time consuming. Until 2020, the pandemic, and I just want to talk about that. I mean, it was a crazy, chaotic time where everyone was living in fear, and I, like many others, turned to Animal Crossing for comfort. I'm still really upset that I couldn't get my hands on those gorgeous blue and green controllers because it was just non-existent at that time as they were flying off the shelves, and to find one would be like finding a ruby. But even still, creating my own so-called island, growing fruits, chatting with my neighbors, and wishing on shooting stars helped bring a peace that was hard to feel, especially in that difficult time. I mean, it was my escape, a place where my mind can get away from all the troubles, a place to run free, to catch bugs for a little while. And it was a time where, when we were all stuck at home, separated from loved ones, seeing my friends virtually represented through their character was exciting. And getting to visit their islands, to share resources and have a game of hide and seek or scavenger hunt were all a fun adventure. I even remember my roommate set up a surprise birthday party where she excitedly claimed she happened to have shooting stars on her island, and upon arriving, seeing a mass of Animal Crossing characters popping up, streamers or confetti, whatever you call them, and showering me with gifts. I mean, all this to say, Animal Crossing became my coping mechanism for a while when the world around me didn't make sense. To have my own little island that I got to manage and control all gave me a sense of purpose. Despite it being a virtual reality, it was very real to me and many others. There is an entire community of folks my age group who also love the game. It's the Animal Crossing Facebook group, and I learned that many others were feeling the same sentiments I felt, and the timing of this game release was almost serendipitous. On top of all the benefits, this game also taught me the importance of finances as I bought and sold turnip prices, and it's actually from this game that I actually also put my own real dollars into the stock market. Finances were not taught in high school or college, yet this game helped me unlock that part of my brain that I could take control of finances myself. So, first thing that I learned from playing games, gaming can be used as a tool to provide comfort, increase mental well-being, and even some important lessons like finance. Then I discovered the world of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, the OG, so to speak. I wish so much to experience this game for the first time all over again. I mean, it was a whole new world full of soft grass, battling monsters, cooking delicious recipes like mushroom risotto or hot buttered apples from what I foraged in the forest. And I can go on and on and on, but I'm sure if you've played this game for yourself, you will understand my sentiment. As I was discovering new things like taming a giant horse or recharging my health by sitting in a hot spring and solving puzzles, my joyous laughter and delights trickled out of my room even for my roommates to hear. They know firsthand how much joy I experience in this game. If you, like myself, are a novice gamer, I would highly, highly recommend this game. If you think it and wonder if it's possible, more often than not, try it out for yourself and see what's possible. When it comes to controls, it can be overwhelming, confusing, and just darn right frustrating at times, especially the camera control during enemy fights, but I was motivated to practice and get better at the game because I was just enthralled at its beauty. I was transported to the world of Hyrule. I lived, breathed, and became the character of Link. So much so that I even created my Animal Crossing island based off of Hyrule. The genius behind this game is that it mimics real life in a sense. So for example, with the wind drafts from a fire, or making baked apples by throwing apples in the fire. So second thing I learned from playing games. Gaming taught me how to be resourceful, and I built confidence as I progressed throughout the game, getting better and better at navigating the world, fighting monsters, and solving puzzles. League of Legends. I kind of chuckle at that because I know how it's known to be such a toxic community and toxic game, but that's just the thing. League taught me how to handle negativity, take responsibility, and learn from my mistakes and strategize my gameplay. It also taught me that I am capable of more than what I think I am if I care to care enough about it. So let me explain. League of Legends has been around since 2009, but because I think I was busy living my high school life, I never really got into it. I never really grew up with games, and it's not anything that I sought out, and I also didn't have close friends who played it, which is usually how you hear of new popular games. But in 2019, I randomly came across KDA. And the sexy dancing, the catchy bops, and beautiful champions intrigued me. I danced in college, and I dedicated countless late nights practicing with my team. We loved, lived, and breathed the craft, so when I saw these rocking, beautiful animations, I just fell in love. These champions oozed confidence, glamour, and seduction. I wanted to be them. I still want to be them. And I wanted to harness and exude a piece of that energy for myself. So I turned to the experts. My friends who played the game throughout college but then quit years prior when quote-unquote life and jobs had to take over. I distinctly remember when my friend was first explaining the concept of abilities. There are over 160 champions, each with their own abilities, which they use to engage with enemy champions, destroy turrets, and win the game. He said, so let's take Ari for an example. Ari's E charms you, her Q has a ball that comes out to the enemy and then back to her. Her W has 3 balls that shoot out of her, blah 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 blah, and he was just going on and on and on, talking a mile a minute, when I lost him at the word charm, and it was so frustrating to not understand when I so badly wanted to understand. I wish you could see my early gameplays. It was like walking straight into my death, and I was a free Las Vegas buffet for the enemies to feed off of. Free meat left and right, dying over and over and over and over again, failing over and over again. I never threw my keyboard across the room, but it was pretty infuriating and very easy to blame everyone else but me. But when you're learning anything new, of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard, and you're not supposed to know everything by day one. How is anyone supposed to? So what I learned from playing what is considered to be the most toxic and hated game, it taught me how to handle negativity, discerning when it is worthwhile to engage and speak up and take a jab back, or to ignore the haters and not let them bring down my mojo. It taught me to take responsibility, learn from my mistakes, failed attempts, and strategize my gameplay. Strategize with team members, communicate, and be open, because your individual survival won't dictate a win. If everyone on the team can work together towards one collective objective and support each other, then a win is possible. And I'm honestly so glad that I learned the game, because it's honestly one of my favorite ways to wind down and relax. And it's also opened up a door to the beautiful world of stories like Arcane. And I now have a lot of love and reverence for all the creatives working so hard behind the scenes to make the League of Legends lore and world what it is today. And Porter Robinson's Everything Goes On will never not make me cry. And last but definitely not least, Detroit Become Human. Detroit Become Human is a beautiful and enthralling game. If you haven't played it already, I highly recommend it. It's like the choose your own adventure books some of us read as kids, where you make choices that will determine the plot's outcome. Detroit Become Human is a narrative-driven adventure game set in a futuristic version of Detroit in the year 2038. And in this world, there are advanced androids who are designed to look and act like humans. And I think everyone should play this game at least once in their lifetime, especially as we approach a new era of AI and technology. I mean, this world just may be our own future. But yeah, this game explores themes such as identity, freedom, morality, and you as the player has to make choices that shapes a narrative, which leads to various outcomes and multiple endings. And different from a book, the choices that you make have a time limit, and high quality visuals immerse you in the story that make it difficult to choose at times. This game taught me how to trust myself. So I have a tendency to second guess my decisions because I don't know if I'm making the right one. Whichever decision I make, I know that there's going to be pros and cons to both. And in my life, this was reflected in yielding to other people to choose the restaurant, or more personally, where I want my life to go. I have a lot of interests that I want to pursue, but staying in my head, thinking causes paralysis. So instead of just doing it and failing fast, I just end up freezing. But this game taught me to make decisions quickly, efficiently, and to trust my intuition. It also helped me to make meaningful decisions in a safe environment. I guess because I know that if my character were to die or something, I know it's not real. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I still struggle with making decisions from time to time because I am human, and the survival part of my brain may whisper fears and anxieties. But games like Detroit Become Human help to reveal the truest parts of ourselves. It's taught me that when push comes to shove and when I'm faced with a really important ethical decision that impacts others, sometimes the right answer for me is intuitive and sometimes right in front of me. And even if I don't make the right decision, I have to make peace with the consequences because there is something to be learned from that. All this to say, many people might have an opinion about games, that it's a waste of time or that it promotes violence or any other negative connotation. But in my opinion, I say that anything can become a bad thing if used incorrectly or to an excess, like TV or alcohol. And if anything, in many ways, games have helped me a lot in terms of my emotional state, my mental state, and it got me through some really difficult times, like COVID. For one, games taught me skills in a safe and repeatable environment because it gives you an instant feedback if the player is doing something right or wrong, and from there you can adjust strategy as needed. Games also taught me a lot about resistance and not to give up after the first try. And I think games like Celeste or the new League of Legends Swarm game mode are really good examples of this, because it's really amazing to look back and see how far I've come after a little bit of persistence. And of course, games help me with decision making in real life situations when it really mattered. And I know that I'm not the only one who has really benefited from games and has used it as a tool for something in life. You know, if you use it as a tool, it can be helpful for you too. So next time you pick up a game, remember, you might be learning more than you think. I hope this video gave you some insight, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.